reel off every pick until we're done with quarterbacks starting at the top.
Well, number one, no surprise. Trevor Lawrence from Clemson. He's going to be the number one pick. And Urban Meyer doesn't take the head coaching job at Jacksonville if he doesn't have a quarterback that's a once-in-a-decade type of prospect coming out of college at that position. Number two is when I think the draft starts, if you will. The Jets, I have them taking Zach Wilson, the BYU quarterback, who, after studying all the tape of these top prospects at the quarterback spot, I think based purely off of film that it's Lawrence, then there's a little gap, then Zach Wilson, then there's a gap, and then it's Trey Lance from North Dakota State and Justin Fields from Ohio State is that third tier, if you will. But I have Wilson going too, and the interesting part here is it could be to the Jets if New York is able to move Sam Darnold and get some draft capital for him, maybe a third-round pick this year or first or second-round pick next year. But if they stay there and wind up, or if they don't move Darnold, then I think they wind up moving out of that spot is what I should say. And in that case, it could be a team like Carolina moving up from 8 to 2 to go get Zach Wilson. So moving Wilson to 2 was more about Wilson being clearly the number 2 quarterback prospect in this class. And if it's not the Jets, it could be another team moving into that spot to go get him. Then after Wilson, I've got Trey Lance from North Dakota State and Justin Fields from Ohio State as the next 2 quarterbacks off the board. I had Carolina moving up from 8 to 3 in a trade with Miami in order to go get Lance. It could be Fields there. I have almost identical grades on the 2, but Matt Rule told me at the Senior Bowl, and his defensive coordinator and another assistant coach, they all said the same thing. We feel like we have a playoff roster outside of the quarterback position. We lost 8 games last year by 1 score, and if we have a quarterback that can make that drive in the 4th quarter, we got a chance to be a really competitive football team. So I think they're going to be aggressive in terms of going up and getting the guy that they want at that position. And then finally, I don't know that Atlanta's going to take a quarterback with Matt Ryan having 1 or 2 good years left and having all that cap space that he's eating up for Atlanta if they wind up moving him. But Atlanta could look for the future of that position, and it could be Justin Fields at that spot if he's still available at number 4. And if not, Atlanta moves down, and another team like San Francisco, possibly Dallas, possibly Chicago at 20, Indianapolis at 21. We have to see where all the dominoes fall with the veteran quarterbacks between now and the draft. But there are going to be several teams that need a quarterback that could be looking to move up to go get that guy come draft weekend.
Hey, Todd, you've been covering the draft for, 20 years, whatever. It's been a very long time. Let's put it that way. I've been around football for a very long time. And every single year around this time, we move quarterbacks up. This year is Zach Wilson. And why is that? And then later on, we revisit these things 2 or 3 years down the line, and that quarterback that was moved up doesn't necessarily pan out the way that we all expected came April.
Yeah, but sometimes it does, Key. Listen, there are always mistakes, and sometimes it's not even a mistake. Sometimes it's thrusting a quarterback into a situation where they don't have enough around them to be successful early in their career. They get beat up, they lose confidence, and so on and so forth. But with Zach Wilson, and I'll say this, it's difficult to evaluate because he did not play the competition level that Justin Fields played at Ohio State. He did not play as many games as Justin Fields did in the last 2 years, and he was injured a year ago with the shoulder and thumb injuries that prevented him from playing in some games. So, but you look at his physical traits. I'm not saying he's Pat Mahomes or Deshaun Watson or even Baker Mayfield, but he's got that creative ability, the ability to extend plays, the ability to change arm angles, and he just has a natural feel and instinct for the game. He's a playmaker, and that's what you're looking for at this position, especially now in the NFL, a guy who can go beyond the initial play and create something when that initial play breaks down. And that's why just studying his tape this year, even though it wasn't against elite competition, it wasn't against Alabama or Clemson or even a Northwestern like Fields did, I see the traits in him to be a special player at the next level.
Todd, let me ask you this. You said that it goes Trevor Lawrence, and then there's a big gap, then Zach Wilson, and then a slight gap, then Trey Lance. What makes Trey Lance better than Justin Fields?
And Todd, we got just like 1 minute.
Yeah, Trey Lance is difficult to evaluate as well. He had 1 game this year that was basically created for him to go showcase, and he didn't play all that well. But you go back to 2019 and study his tape. big, sturdy, strong arm, mobile, can extend and create as well. I think he and Fields are very similar. The slight separation, I would say, is that I see in Lance the ability to process things quicker, meaning he can go from his first read to his second to his third read and sees the whole field a little bit better than what I've seen from Justin Fields. So that's why I put him slightly ahead. But, everyone's yelling at me saying, how do you have Justin Fields from Ohio State going number 4 overall, the 4th quarterback? He's still going number 4 overall. And I still have a very high grade on him. But I think Lance is probably the most underrated quarterback in this year's draft class because we haven't seen him in the last year, and nobody really watched his games in the FCS level.
Right, 17 careers.
Yeah, why do you have him going number 4?
There
it's
he
2021.
is. There he is. I was waiting, kid.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.